What's up, guys? My name's Aldo. Today, I'll be showing you guys my machine learning fantasy football project that I've been working on for the last several months. Um, the goal of this project is to help me select uh, the best players in fantasy football next season. Obviously, this is kind of unpredictable. Nobody could predict it exactly. If we could, then you would just be going with ESPN's predicted player every single time you come up to draft. Um, and you'll see that this model that I actually made, uh, you'll see that it values a lot of the same players that are ranked out there. So we'll be using Draft Wizard Fantasy Pros to do a mock draft, and I'll be using my my project to guide my picks. And you'll see that um, although there are a lot of differences, there are times when my project ranks the player pretty much equal to what is ranked uh, even on that mock draft from Draft Wizards Fantasy Pros that we'll be using. So ESPN, they give you a ranking for every player when you're drafting, and they give you the who they think you should take. Um, and I've actually had to draft automatically one time because I was at work and I guess I just missed my draft completely. And so ESPN automatically drafted for me. I might have made the playoffs or something, but I definitely didn't win my league that time. So, yeah, I don't really trust ESPN. I don't know what goes into their valuing system, how they value players. This project I have control of, which is why I made it in the first place, because I want to be able to create something where I know what's going into it. I know the ingredients that are in my project, the things that my players are being valued on. Um, that stuff is all being done using techniques for machine learning, using packages from Python, which is a programming language. Um, Basically just having that stuff do all the work, but feeding the data that I gathered that I thought would be important data to predict uh, the thing that I wanted to predict, which was who's going to be the best players in fantasy next season. Uh, my own predictions, not ESPN or anything. So um, this season, I'm going to be drafting using my predictions. Um, and we'll be looking at the results of my project, the quarterbacks, the running backs, the wide receivers, the tight ends, what my project um, predicts will be the results for each position group next season. Um, and I like a lot of it. Don't agree with all of it, but you will see that. And you'll also just get to watch how this will look in a mock draft. So I'll do a mock draft using Draft Wizards Fantasy Pros to show you guys what my actual draft might look like. And when my actual drafts do come, I will do my best to record that and show you guys the results, what my teams will be looking like, and throughout the season we'll kind of check up, and hopefully um, we could get a winner here using this project. If we could win at least one of my leagues using this project, I think that will be a very successful trial season for my fantasy football project that is using machine learning techniques that I learned at school at California State University of Long Beach, which I just graduated from. I majored in computer science, and I graduated in December. And I'm trying to use the knowledge I gained uh, by implementing it in a way that could help me and hopefully help others in the future uh, draft um, and have an advantage over their peers when playing fantasy football. Um, so with that being said, let's take a look at this project. Let's see the position groups, and uh, let's uh, let's have some fun. All right, let's go ahead and look at the quarterback position. Start with the quarterback position, and on the right hand side we have the actual fantasy football total points for each quarterback last season. Each quarterback that saw any that gained any points last season in fantasy. We'll see them on the right. On the left, we see the predictions for next season, what where we think each player will stand next season. And you see, there's a bunch of change. The green um, pluses and the red minuses show you just how they fall compared to last season. Dak Prescott finishes his. We believe that he'll finish in first, uh, QB1 for next season. Josh Allen, number two. Number three, Jordan Love. Number four, Jalen Hurts. Number five, Jared Goff. Number six, Lamar Jackson. Number seven, Brock Purdy. Number eight, Tua Tagovailoa. Number nine, Patrick Mahomes. So kind of have your usual suspects here. I think the quarterback position is usually pretty static in terms of talent. They usually have the same guys. They'll maybe one or two guys from rookies quarterbacks. So that's unfortunate that at this point of this machine learning program that we're not able to predict on rookies yet, but we will try to do that soon. If you guys think any rookies will uh, are worthy of being in the top 12, let me know. Comment below whether you think that's Caleb Williams or Jaden McDaniels or somebody else. I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts and where you guys think those quarterbacks would land in this rankings. We also have number 10, Baker Mayfield, um, number 11, Russell Wilson, number 12, CJ Stroud, number 13, Trevor Lawrence. Uh, Kind of your usual suspects. Maybe a guy like let's see, Aaron Rodgers. That one kind of pops out right there. Who knows what he could do next year? But I don't think his predicted points should be less than one. That is absolutely ridiculous. So that's definitely another flaw in our calculation uh, in predicting these things. Like you can't predict Aaron Rodgers will score less than 1 point. That's not what his track record shows, that we do take in all the previous seasons and that's how we train our machine learning model. It's based on, all the stats that these players have recorded. So it's odd to me that Aaron Rodgers was predicted to score less than 1 point. That's just not right. So we're definitely going to be working on that, trying to fix that. Because it doesn't make sense. You see Kyler Murray, and Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray, uh, Joe Burrow, three guys who I think, uh, Kirk Cousins, four guys that, you could argue they should be a lot higher. Joe Burrow, you could definitely argue should be a lot higher. Justin Herbert, you could definitely argue could be a lot higher. Um, but I think as in terms of safe is another thing that's going into these predictions, right? C.J. Stroud, Russell Wilson, Baker Mayfield, Patrick Mahomes, Tua Tagovailoa, Brock Purdy, Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff, uh, Jordan Love, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott. They seem more safe to me, but um, that could definitely change. I could see Russell Wilson uh, or some of these guys taking a step back, and and other guys taking a step forward. So that's it for the quarterback position. All right, guys, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the running back position. Um, all right, so at the top, there's not much that changes here, but there are some things worth mentioning. So at the very top, nothing really changes here. We have Christian McCaffrey, we got Brees Hall, both finishing 1 and 2 as they finished 1 and 2 last year, respectively. It does seem like the gap will close between Brees Hall and Christian McCaffrey. Um, but at number 3, we have a slight change that was a little surprising to me. Did not know that Rashad White was number 5 in fantasy last season. But after, making this project and seeing all the stats and stuff, we have Rashad White as finishing next season even better at number 3. Um, uh, Travis Etienne, right below that, he finishes at number 4 in our estimation, staying top 5, but slightly sliding. Um, Joe Mixon at number 5, he goes up 1 spot from last season. Um, James Cook, number 6, he goes up 6 spots from last season. So his rookie year was an impressive one. Um, uh, Followed by Bijan Robinson and Jameer Gibbs, who both go up 2 spots from last season. A couple other young guys, Jameer Gibbs and Bijan Robinson. I think all 3 of those guys, including James Cook, were all rookies last season. Um, and then we have Derrick Henry at number 9, slight dip from last season. Tyron Williams, pretty marginal drop off from number 7 last season to number 10 this season. Tony Pollard going up 3 spots in our estimation. He had a down year last season, finished as an RB2. This season, we have him just inside RB1 territory. Alvin Kamara, Mr. Steady, stays in RB1 territory, just barely at number 12, rounding off 1 through 12 RB1 guys. Then after that, we got the RB2 guys, Saquon Barkley starting off that group. Raheem Mostert sliding 10 spots. This could be due to injury. He had an amazing year last season, finishing at number 4 in running back for fantasy football PPR. This season seems that we have him taking a noticeable step drop off. Like I said, probably due to his injury. Some more guys to finish off the RB2 range. We have Isaiah Pacheco, David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, Austin Eckler, seriously making up some ground there. Plus 8 spots from last season. He had an injury riddled last season. Jalen Warren, also, I think a rookie last season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was having an amazing rookie campaign. Jerome Ford taking 3 spots back. I don't think he was ever supposed to be as productive as he was, but seems like he's still in RB2 territory. Kenneth Walker also in RB2 territory at number 21. So Isaiah Pacheco seems like one of those guys that you could draft relatively late in the running back position, and he might have the easiest job out of all these guys here. Then we have Najee Harris, number 22, Brian Robinson, and James Conner. Both those guys taking marginal drops in production. And then we have other notables like Josh Jacobs, Devon Achane, not making the RB2 territory, but certainly in the mix. But yeah, don't reach for those guys. They'll be there most likely, and if they do get taken, you see here that we don't value him too much, not enough for uh, you to worry at least. Um, Chuba Hubbard is another guy outside, just outside of the uh, RB2 range, which would be 13 to 24. Um, RB1 range 1 to 12 because I have 12 teams uh, in my league. We see Dalvin Cook here. It took a meaningful uh, step up, is what we're predicting him to do next season, but still not a guy you really want to take your chances on drafting. Um, yeah, not too many more noticeable guys there. That's about it for the running back position. Now we're going to go over the wide receiver position, which is really the deepest position, the hardest position to draft. Everybody is going for the top wide receivers early in the rounds in the fantasy football drafts usually. Um, Here we have uh, what happened last season on the right versus what we're predicting on the left. And if you notice, it's actually a funny occurrence here. We have the top five uh, wide receivers from last season. We're predicting to be the top five next season and in the same order, which I don't see happening. That would have to be a very interesting coincidence. But uh, I think what we can take from that is that these guys are all worth your top five wide receivers to take in the draft, and that's starting with CeeDee Lamb, and then Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka Nacua, AJ Brown. That's the elite of the elite. Can't miss wide receivers that you should be thinking about taking if they're on the board. Um, and if they're not on the board, go ahead and check those running backs before you come back to the wide receiver groups. Um, um, Number six, Mike Evans. Number seven, DJ Moore. Number eight, Keenan Allen. Number nine, Brandon Ayuk. Number 10, Jamar Chase. Uh, I think number 11, Nico Collins. Number 12, Stephon Diggs. I think the thing to point out here is that uh, Mike Evans and DJ Moore um, are and Keenan Allen and Brandon Ayuk are all ranked above Jamar Chase, and that is maybe controversial compared to the other mock drafts and prediction models out there, such as ESPN, Yahoo. They will probably all rank Jamar Chase over a guy like Brandon Ayuk. But I think all things equal, Brandon Ayuk, Jamar Chase, I think Brandon Ayuk is the more safe pick, and that should be why I think that's why um, it's you know why we favor Brandon Ayuk over Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase, he has a history of getting injured. He also his quarterback does have a history of getting injured as well. Um, and Brandon Ayuk, the only thing that is controversial about him right now is his contract. So then followed by those two, we have Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs to round out the wide receiver ones. So these guys are all wide receiver one territory. Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins seems like the most reliable guy, at least more reliable than Tank Dell when it comes to Texans wide receivers. But Stephon Diggs, we'll see how that plays out. I mean, at this point, he's a legend of the wide receivers. Um, we saw what he did in Buffalo. We saw what he did in Minnesota. Seems like these two lives will become easier. Maybe like a Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle thing. Um, I think they'll both be very productive, and I think it's fair to put them both as wide receiver ones. Devontae Adams, number one in the wide receiver two range. Michael Pittman, Amari Cooper, Adam Thielen, Chris Olave, Devontae Smith. Um, I think the only couple ones there that really surprised me is Amari Cooper and Chris Olave. Uh, those guys seem like they're not as good. You could already pretty much pencil them in for not being as good as the rest of the guys there. Calvin Ridley, number 19, 20, Garrett Wilson, 21, DK Metcalf, 22, DeAndre Hopkins, 23, Jordan Addison, uh, 24, Rasheed Rice, 25, Chris Godwin, 26, Justin Jefferson, 27, Tim McLaurin, 28, uh, George Pickens. So right here, a glaring, obvious uh, thing that we're seeing here is Justin Jefferson at 26 now. This is a definitely a flaw. You know, let me know what you think about this. This is a huge flaw. I mean, obviously, I would love to take Justin Jefferson over Amari Cooper. I would love to take him over Chris Olave, uh, and you could argue a bunch of guys on the top 13, 14 picks in for wide receivers. He's proven that he's when healthy and if he has a good quarterback that he could be the best player in fantasy football. So I would like to see him ranked higher here, but just the nature of this machine learning program that I created is that it's still in its infancy stages. So we're not going to have uh, everything sorted out. But I think it's at a good enough place where I can use it to draft this season, and and it will be fun to see the results of that. Terry McLaurin, uh, Washington with Jaden McDaniels, that should be interesting. Rasheed Rice, we know what's going on with him and his legal issues, but besides that, he's a great player. Reminds me a little bit of Debo Samuel. Um, Jalen Waddle, another guy that it's just has to be a flaw, right? I would take him over Amari Cooper, definitely. I would take him um, over Chris Olave, definitely. Number 29, I mean, he's not going to be there as the 29th best wide receiver. Uh, Another guy to see here, Debo Samuel, minus 19. The machine learning model does not like receivers like Debo Samuel, um, whether that be his injuries, whether that be his splits as a wide receiver, getting carries, getting rushing attempts, rushing yards. Uh, when it comes to wide receivers, we think Debo will take a huge step backwards. Uh, will fall off. Not worth taking the risk for Debo Samuel. Cooper Kupp is another guy to notice here at number 39. Um, Same thing, must be the injuries, but I don't think that uh, Cooper is obviously um, a much more natural wide receiver in terms of he's not taking as many running back snaps and stuff like Debo Samuel. Um, I should say conventional. He's a much more conventional wide receiver, and we're just scrolling through to see if there's any other things that stand out to us so that we could talk about and point out while we're uh, experimenting with this new application to help us win our fantasy football drafts, our fantasy football leagues, uh, using data, historical data, and letting the computer uh, uh, be make logical decisions instead of somebody like myself, a human. Uh, we see Tank Dell there at number 42. Tank Dell, yeah, if he wouldn't have got injured, it would have been interesting to see where he would have been ranked here. Probably top 10 wide receiver, but um, that's about it for wide receivers. All right, guys, let's go over the tight end position group. Tight end, I mean, I think here is where we really suffer from one of the flaws of this young machine learning program is that there's no rookies. that we can't make predictions on incoming players yet, which I think is where change usually takes place within the tight end position. There's not many times where you get a tight end who like works himself up to be a star, at least not that I could think of. But so here we have the top seven rookies from last season. You'll see uh, that they're the same as this season. You'll see that Kyle Pitts stays in tight end one group. But yeah, you'll see the top seven guys are the same as the top seven guys for last season, in the same order. That's Sam Laporta, Evan Ingram, Travis Kelce, TJ Hawkinson, David Njoku, George Kittle, Trey McBride, uh, Jake Ferguson, and Dalton Kincaid were two of those young guys that really seemed to make a difference. Cole Kmet too. Um, that could maybe go up higher. Maybe a guy like Trey McBride as well could uh, maybe those guys could move themselves up into the top five. But it'd be really nice to be able to predict like where Brock Bowers would land in this position group. Go ahead and comment below and let me know where you think he would land. If you do think that a tight end one um, caliber guy. We got Kyle Pitts staying in, just barely beating out Mark Andrews for the last tight end one position or tight end one, yeah, place. Um, Mark Andrews did deal with injuries last season. Then we have a guy like Tyler Conklin, I guess, who could maybe even benefit more from Aaron Rodgers coming back, him going up three spots there. So he's even net positive, even though he had a guy like Zach Wilson and others as his uh, quarterback last season. And let's just see if there's anything else that stands out here. Um, I don't know who most of these guys are, to be honest. It seems like a lot of wide receivers get snaps, or sorry, tight ends get snaps. But yeah, there's not a lot of interesting other things to note for the tight end position. Get this screen shared on the right, my machine learning tool. On the left, we got the mock draft. Let's go ahead and start making sure these settings are good. Um, everything looks good. I play PPR. Um, I'll go ahead and randomize the draft selection. Um, check the roster positions, one flex, two wide receivers, two running backs, quarterbacks. So I started out with the fifth pick. Usually, I think at this point of the draft, you want to go wide receiver. They usually score the most points. And already we have kind of a conflicting census here. My predictions versus um, the mock draft simulator. Um, so Brees Hall projected to score 298. They have Brees Hall projected to score 311 points. I'll just check and make sure he is the best option. Puka Nacua is my best available receiver here. 319 points. Brees Hall 298. I'm gonna go Brees Hall here. Rashad White. Um, maybe I'll take another running back, but wide receiver again is probably uh, has the best available players. It's just a deeper position. Um, Mike Evans is my best available wide receiver here. DJ Moore is also the next best. So um, they like DJ Moore better than Mike Evans. They like Waddle and Ayuk and Pittman better than Mike Evans, but we like Mike Evans here. He's more valuable than anybody left. So far I got Brees Hall, Mike Evans, DJ Moore is the best available wide receiver in my estimation. Um, Rashad White. Um, well, DJ Moore. Yeah, we gotta take DJ Moore here. He's the best. 273. We got DJ Moore, Mike Evans, and Brees Hall. So maybe we stack up the running back position here. For running back, it gets a little bit tough to match up the players on the left and the right. I think with Yahoo and ESPN, when I'm actually drafting, it shows all the players for the position, so it should be a little bit more friendly in that case. Keenan Allen's also available. He's my eighth best wide receiver, so if I get him here, then I'll have the sixth, seventh, and eighth best wide receivers in my estimation. So now I definitely need. I'm okay with wide receivers. I might get one or two here, but it's time to really start looking for these running backs, and I'll just do that by making sure um, I'm taking the best one according to my program, my machine learning um, program that's helping me draft right now. Um, I need to follow it 100%, so that's what I'm doing now, just making sure I'm taking the best player, which seems to be James Conner, seems to be running a fair running back too. Um, then we have Jalen Warren. He's a guy that we also value. Um, Jalen Warren's actually should have taken him instead of James Conner. Um, Tony Pollard's available. I'm gonna have to take him here. He's 11th on my board. And Jalen Warren I could take here, or I could just be content with what I have in Tony Pollard um, and James Conner, and then get like a tight end or quarterback. Still a bunch of good tight ends left. Nobody maybe worth breaking the bank for. Um, Jordan Love is actually really high on my quarterback ranking, number three. So I'll go ahead and draft Jordan Love here. Yeah, so number one is actually Dak Prescott on my list. So I was hoping that I wouldn't have to draft a quarterback very soon. Now I'm gonna kind of have to reach here for a tight end, I think, just to make sure that I get at least one of my top picks. David Njoku and George Kittle are both really high up there for me. David Njoku is actually the one that my uh, my predictions are telling me to take here. But I might have to just take a wide receiver here. Uh, David Njoku will surely be there on the next round. There's no way that he gets taken right now. Jordan Addison is a pretty intriguing guy. I'm running out of time here. I'll take Jordan Addison. Yeah, I'm gonna have to definitely make a decision here on the tight end position. You know, I'll go David Njoku because uh, that's what my program is saying, and it's a machine, so it's smarter than me. And then I'll just fill up my roster with what I would do in a real draft. If Justin Tucker's still there and I'm already happy with all my positions, I'll just get Justin Tucker and I'll get that gaudy Baltimore Ravens defense. Now it's time to beef up some of my positions. Still a lot of guys I like here. Make sure I'm doing my due diligence and checking to see that all these um, guys, where these guys rank in my program. Just check Gabe Davis to Josh Downs one spot ahead. So I'll go ahead and get Josh Downs here. Gabe Davis will be the next receiver I want to take. But let me make sure these running backs are still good. I think I was weaker at the running back position. Going in right now, I'd be much more um, worried about my running back position than my wide receiver position. None of these running backs I'm very excited about, but Adam Thielen is still available here. So I'll go ahead and draft Adam Thielen. He's clearly the best pick right there. I don't know how I didn't see that initially. He's Adam Thielen was 43rd on my board in the merge list. So with running backs, quarterbacks, um, all the positions put together that we care about, um, Adam Thielen was 43rd, and I just got him at I don't know 60th pick or something, maybe even more than that. So Gabe Davis will be my last pick, and I actually valued him a lot. All right, so let's look at these results. Let's go over what happened. So I got a C, 73 out of 100, um, according to this mock draft simulator. Uh, some things to know here is I got three of my most highly ranked receivers. So like Mike Evans, DJ Moore, and Keenan Allen. Uh, they were 6, 7, and 8 on my receiver draft board. So um, I value that receiver the highest out of any, or I value that position group the highest out of any. So um, I'm happy with that. Definitely, I got one of the best running backs, projected to be the second best running back. Uh, that's a pretty consensus thought there. Um, Christian McCaffrey is first on most people's list, followed by Breece Hall. James Conner is where it's a little scary. He um, is barely a running back two on my board, but I also got Tony Pollard and Alexander Madison, and those two guys especially Tony Pollard, could be guys to fill in there. Um, I got Adam Thielen, who was like the biggest steal out of this whole mock draft. Um, he's was 43rd on my whole um, draft board, including quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, and running back and tight ends. So I think with all the different consensus that my predictions had versus what Fantasy Pros had, I think that it's a fair draft, fair grade. But I really like my draft, especially at the wide receiver positions. David Njoku is another guy that was kind of was forced to take right there. Um, what I will say, one thing to know about these projections is that there's no rookie predictions. So guys like Caleb Williams, um, they're not included on my predictions yet. It's something that we're going to be working on. Another thing is that guys like Aaron Rodgers, Kyler Murray, Justin Jefferson, Jalen Waddle were were not projected to go as high as some of the guys on Fantasy Pros and where they projected them. Uh, that's due to like the injuries that Aaron Rodgers and Kyler Murray had, and Justin Jefferson had just this last year. So um, we're going to work on that because we don't think that was fair. The fact that I won't be able to draft Justin Jefferson sucks, because I do value him personally, but my machine learning program hasn't learned how good he is, I guess, yet. So yeah, those are some of the things to note there. Overall, I'm happy with this draft, and I'll be sharing my the drafts that I do and in the same format. So we kind of see what it looks like here, but when my actual important drafts happen, I'll be doing the same thing and hopefully showing everybody um, the results and